It was a busy Saturday evening. Raj's restaurant, the Royal Spoon, was full of people. Soft music played in the background. Waiters moved quickly, serving food and drinks. Expensive perfume and laughter filled the air. Raj, the owner, walked around proudly. He wore a sharp black suit and shiny leather shoes. Everyone in the city knew him as a successful man, rich, proud, and a little rude. Raj believed one thing: my restaurant is only for the rich. Just as he was checking on a table, the glass door opened. A couple walked in. They looked out of place. The man wore an old gray shirt and muddy shoes. The woman wore a simple faded dress and looked tired. Her sandals were broken, and her hair was tied back in a rough bun. Their faces showed they had walked a long way. They looked around slowly, unsure if they had come to the right place. The waiter at the entrance, a young boy named Karen, felt unsure. He smiled politely and asked, "Good evening, sir, ma'am. Table for two." The couple nodded softly. They spoke gently. "Yes, please. We're very hungry." Before Karen could guide them in, Raj noticed. He stopped in his tracks. He walked quickly towards them, his face tight with anger. The room became silent. A few customers turned their heads, curious. Raj stood in front of the couple and said loudly, "What are you doing here?" The couple looked confused. The man replied, "We just want to eat. We will pay." Raj laughed sarcastically. "Pay? Look at yourselves. This is the Royal Spoon, not a roadside stall. People like you don't belong here." The woman lowered her eyes. The man tried to stay calm. "Sir, we don't want trouble. We are just hungry." Raj raised his voice more. "You're embarrassing my customers. Go eat somewhere you can afford." A mother at a nearby table covered her child's ears. The man looked straight at Raj and said calmly, "We came with peace, not to be insulted." Raj snapped, "Out, before I call the police." Karen, the young waiter, stepped forward hesitantly. "Sir, maybe we can just." Raj shouted at him too. "I said outie." The couple slowly turned to leave. The woman wiped a tear from her cheek. But just before walking out, she looked at Raj with steady eyes. "You will regret this," she said softly. Raj laughed loudly. "Sure I will," he said mockingly. The door closed behind them. Outside, the couple walked into the dark street. The man put his arm around the woman, trying to protect her from the cold. A boy sitting near the restaurant entrance had seen everything. He held a mobile phone. Unknown to Raj, the boy had recorded the whole scene. The boy uploaded the video that night with the caption, "Rich restaurant owner insults hungry couple. Watch what happens." Inside the restaurant, things went back to normal. Raj smiled and said loudly to his staff, "This is why we have standards." But some of the guests were not smiling. A few looked uncomfortable. A couple canceled their dessert and left early. Karen, the waiter, stood silently at the side. He looked down, his hands shaking. He had worked at the restaurant for 2 years. He had never seen Raj act this way before. In the kitchen, the chef muttered, "He didn't have to humiliate them like that." Raj didn't care. He walked back to his office and poured himself a glass of wine. "Some people need to learn their place," he said to himself. But that night, Raj couldn't sleep well. He kept thinking of the woman's words. "You will regret this." He turned in bed, annoyed. "What can they do to me?" He said out loud, "They're nobodies." But in some corner of his heart, something felt wrong. The next morning, Raj walked into the restaurant as usual, but something was off. His phone buzzed nonstop. Missed calls, messages, email alerts. His friend sent a link. Viral video. Restaurant owner kicks poor couple out. Internet outrage. His face turned pale. He clicked the link and saw the video. His own voice, loud and cruel, played in front of the world. Raj sat frozen in his chair. The video had gone viral overnight. Thousands of people were sharing it. His name was everywhere, but not in a good way. The video showed everything: his angry face, his cruel words, the woman's soft but strong reply, "You will regret this." And now, the world was watching. The comments were pouring in. How can someone speak like this to hungry people? Money doesn't give you the right to insult. He should be banned from running a restaurant. Even news reporters were talking about it. Rich restaurant owner humiliates couple, but wait till you hear who they were. Raj's phone wouldn't stop ringing. His friends, business partners, and suppliers all saw the video. Some were angry, some were silent, and some had already started distancing themselves. That afternoon, Raj entered his restaurant with a forced smile. He thought maybe things would settle. Maybe people would forget in a day or two. But he was wrong. The place was almost empty. His best customers had canceled their bookings. The waiters stood with worried faces. No one was laughing. No one was talking. Karen, the young waiter, walked up slowly and said, "Sir, a few tables called. They don't want to come anymore." They saw the video. Raj waved his hand. "Don't worry, we'll get new customers." But deep inside, fear was growing. This was not just a bad day. It was the beginning of something worse. By evening, 2 reporters stood outside the restaurant. They tried to speak to Raj, but he refused. No comments. He shouted and slammed the door shut. More trouble followed. His chef, Mr. Badi, came to him and said, "Sir, I need to talk." Raj nodded. "I have been here for 6 years," the chef said. "I worked hard, day and night. But I can't work for a man who treats hungry people like dirt." Raj looked shocked. "You're quitting?" "Yes, and others are thinking the same." Before Raj could answer, another staff member, Neha, added, "Sir, the woman in the video, she didn't even argue. She just asked for food. You embarrassed her like she was nothing." Raj shouted, "You people don't understand. They looked poor. I was protecting the restaurant's image." Neha replied softly, "And now the image is broken." Later that night, Raj sat alone in his office. His hands shook as he read more messages. Sponsors were pulling back. A big event that was planned at his restaurant got canceled. His reputation was falling, faster than he could control. His eyes went again to the part of the video where the woman said those haunting words, "You will regret this." He remembered her eyes. Calm, not scared, as if she already knew something he didn't. He whispered to himself, Who were they?" The next day brought a bigger surprise. A large black SUV stopped outside the restaurant. 2 men in formal suits stepped out. They looked serious. They walked in and handed Raj a sealed letter. One of them said, "Read this. You'll understand everything." Raj quickly opened it. His hands trembled as he read the name on the letterhead. The Aurora Foundation. Private Charity and Business Group, Mr. and Mrs. Aurora. The letter said, "Dear Mr. Raj, you recently insulted and removed 2 people from your restaurant. You believed they were poor. They were, in fact, Mr. and Mrs. Aurora, founders of one of the biggest charity and business foundations in the country. They were dressed simply to observe how restaurants treat people who look poor. You failed that test. We were planning to invest ours 10 crores into your business and help you open 3 more branches. That offer is now canceled. Also, we are considering legal action against your discriminatory behavior. Regards, the Aurora Foundation." Raj dropped the letter. His legs became weak. He sat down, holding his head. Aurora. That woman. That man. They were billionaires. His eyes filled with tears, but this time it wasn't anger or pride. It was fear. Regret. He whispered again, "I made the biggest mistake of my life." Outside, the news had already spread. Social media exploded with the update. The couple was not poor. They were billionaires. Restaurant owner missed a 10 crore investment because of his ego. People now laughed at Raj, but not in a good way. They called him greedy, blind, heartless. Raj looked around his empty restaurant. Just yesterday, it was full. Now, it was quiet like a graveyard. He realized something. He had lost more than money. He had lost respect. Raj sat quietly in his office. The loud world outside didn't matter anymore. The sound of traffic, the clinking of dishes, the voice of waiters, it had all faded. All he could hear was that woman's voice, still echoing in his mind. You will regret this. And now, he was regretting. Deeply. The letter from the Aurora Foundation lay on his desk. Raj read it again and again, hoping it was some kind of joke. But it wasn't. He had truly insulted a billionaire couple. And not just any couple, kind people who spent their lives helping the poor. How could he have missed it? Why didn't he see the kindness in their eyes? Why did he only look at their clothes? The staff at the Royal Spoon had grown cold toward Raj. His chef was gone. Nea, the kind waitress, was also planning to leave. Even Karen, the youngest of them all, avoided eye contact. One day, Raj caught Karen in the hallway and asked quietly, "Did I really look that heartless?" Karen looked at him with sad eyes. "Sir, we all make mistakes. But the way you shouted, like they were garbage, it wasn't right. They were humans, just hungry." Those words hit Raj hard. That evening, Raj couldn't eat. He sat on the floor of his office, surrounded by silence. His phone buzzed again. It was a news alert. Mr. and Mrs. Aurora speak out. We didn't want revenge. We wanted the truth to be seen. In the video clip, Mrs. Aurora stood in front of reporters. She wore a simple white saree and a warm smile. Her eyes looked sad but calm. We were just testing how people treat others based on looks, not just for this restaurant, but many places. Unfortunately, Mr. Raj's reaction reminded us why our work is still needed. We forgive him, but we also hope he learns from this. Raj stared at the screen, tears building in his eyes. She forgave him, even after everything. He felt a lump in his throat. Later that night, he drove to a nearby shelter. He had never been there before. Rich people like him usually stayed far from such places. He knocked gently. A man opened the door. "Can I help you?" Raj replied softly. I want to volunteer. I made a mistake. I judged people without knowing them. I want to do better." The man looked surprised but nodded. "Come in." That night, Raj served food to people who had no homes, no fancy clothes, but warm hearts. An old woman blessed him. A little boy hugged his leg and smiled. A man who had lost his job thanked him with tears. Something inside Raj began to change. For the first time, he felt real peace. The next morning, Raj returned to his restaurant. He stood in the middle of the empty dining hall and called all his staff. They came slowly, not knowing what to expect. Raj looked at them and said, "I don't deserve your respect. I was proud, blind, arrogant, but I want to change. I want to make this place better, not just fancy, but kind." He continued, "Starting today, anyone who walks into this restaurant, rich or poor, will be treated with respect." There was silence. Then Nea stepped forward and nodded. "If you're really serious, we'll stand with you." Raj smiled, tears in his eyes. "Thank you." That week, he made big changes. He started Kind Har, where anyone who couldn't afford food could come and eat for free, no questions asked. He changed the restaurant's slogan from "only for the elite" to "a taste of kindness for everyone." He even called Mrs. Aurora personally. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," he said, voice trembling. "But thank you for teaching me. You didn't just save your foundation's image, you saved my soul." There was silence. Then Mrs. Aurora replied gently, "Better hearts build better businesses, Mr. Raj. Keep going." By the end of the month, something unexpected happened. People started coming back, not because of the food, but because of the story. News outlets now wrote, "The restaurant that changed after one big mistake." From arrogance to apology, Raj's journey of redemption. People supported his kindness. They shared videos of his kind hour. Influencers praised him. Even Mr. and Mrs. Aurora came back, this time dressed the same, but welcomed with open arms. Raj personally served them, bowed slightly, and said, "Thank you for giving me another chance." Mr. Aurora smiled and replied, "You earned it." News about Raj's transformation spread like wildfire. What started as a shameful story was now turning into an inspiring one. People were shocked to see the same man, who once shouted at a hungry couple, now serving food to the poor with his own hands. Blogs, newspapers, and even television channels were saying the same thing. The man who changed. But not everyone believed it. One day, while Raj was placing flowers on each table, a young woman walked in with a camera. Raj smiled and said, "Welcome to the Royal Spoon." She didn't smile back. "I'm here to see if you're acting for the camera or if this is real." Raj froze. "Sorry." The woman placed her camera on the table. "My name is Zoya. I run a small truth channel on YouTube. You made millions from rich clients, and now you want the poor to trust you. I don't believe it." Raj's heart sank. He replied softly, "You don't have to believe it. Just watch. Stay for an hour. See what we do now." Zoya stayed. She sat in a corner and watched everything. She saw Raj greet every customer, rich or poor, with the same warmth. She saw how the kind hours started. People with torn clothes, weak faces, walked in shyly and walked out with smiles. Zoya quietly recorded a video. That night, she posted it online with the title, "I tested the famous restaurant owner, and what I saw shocked me." The video went viral within hours. Zoya's voice in the video was emotional. "I came here expecting a show. What I saw was honesty, kindness, a man trying to fix a broken part of himself. This isn't a story about food. It's a story about change." People started flooding the comment section. "I cried watching this. Real change is possible. We need more Rajs in this world." Respect to Mr. Raj. Owning your mistake is never easy. Raj's phone buzzed again. But this time, the messages were not angry. They were thankful. The next day, something even more surprising happened. Mr. Aurora himself walked into the restaurant. He wasn't alone. With him were two young girls holding clipboards. They were part of the foundation. Raj rushed forward and said, "Sir, welcome again. How may I serve you today?" Mr. Aurora smiled. "Today, I am not here as a customer. I'm here to offer you something." Raj was confused. Mr. Aurora continued, "We want to partner with you. Start a program in your name, Raj's Table, where we fund meals for 1,000 people every month in different cities. You will be the face of this change." Raj's eyes widened. You trust me that much?" Mr. Aurora nodded. "You fell hard, but you stood up harder." Soon, local politicians, businessmen, and school students came to visit the Royal Spoon. Some wanted to support. Some wanted to learn. Even Raj's old chef, Mr. Badi, came back. He said, "I heard about everything. I want to cook again. Not for money. For the people." Raj hugged him tightly. His team was coming back. His life was rebuilding. But then came a new challenge. Late one evening, while Raj was closing the cash counter, a man walked in wearing a black coat and dark glasses. He didn't sit. He walked straight to Raj and placed an envelope on the table. Raj opened it slowly. It was a court notice. A lawsuit. A woman named Mrs. Singhal was suing Raj for discrimination. She claimed that 2 years ago, Raj had refused her entry because she wore slippers and a sari. Raj's face turned pale. He didn't remember her, but the letter was real. News broke out the next morning. Past comes back to haunt Raj. New discrimination case filed. People were confused. Some said, Maybe he hasn't changed. Is this just a clever PR game? Let's not judge so quickly. Everyone has a past. Raj sat in his office again, thinking. The pain returned. The shame returned. But this time, he didn't hide. He stood in front of his staff and said, "If I have hurt more people, I want to know. I want to face it. I will apologize. I will learn. This change will not stop." He called a press conference. Cameras flashed. Journalists leaned in. Raj stepped forward and spoke calmly. 2 years ago, I may have done something wrong. I don't remember the woman, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. If I caused her pain, I am sorry. I am not perfect, but I am trying. I will meet her. I will say sorry, not in front of cameras, but face to face. His words were raw, honest, not for sympathy, but for truth. 3 days passed. Raj didn't sleep much. Every night, he kept thinking about the woman who had sent the legal notice. Mrs. Singhal. He still couldn't remember her face, her voice, or that day from 2 years ago. But he believed her. Because back then, he was arrogant. Back then, he did treat people like they were not good enough. And now his own heart whispered to him, "You have more to fix." With the help of the lawyer, Raj finally found her address. It was a small apartment on the edge of the city. The building was old, paint peeling off the walls. Children played outside, and clothes hung from windows. Raj didn't come in a big car. He came alone, carrying a simple brown bag. He knocked softly on her door. It opened slowly. An elderly woman stood there in a plain sari. Her face looked surprised, then tense. "You," she said. Raj folded his hands. "Yes, ma'am. I'm Raj, from the Royal Spoon." Her eyes filled with emotion, but not joy. Not yet. They sat quietly in her tiny living room. A fan hummed above, and a small TV played in the background. Raj placed the bag on the table. "I brought something. Just a meal. I cooked it myself." Mrs. Singhal didn't touch it. She looked him in the eyes and said, "Do you remember me now?" Raj took a deep breath. "No, I don't. And I'm sorry for that too. But I'm here to listen. Please tell me what I did." Her voice trembled as she spoke. 2 years ago, it was my wedding anniversary. My husband had passed away just 6 months before. I wanted to do something brave, something kind for myself. So I wore the same sari I wore on our first date and came to your restaurant. She wiped her eyes. "I didn't know you had a dress code. I didn't know that my slippers and sari would make me unfit to eat there. But the worst part wasn't being asked to leave. The worst part was your exact words." She looked down. "You said, 'This isn't a charity. Please leave.'" Raj felt those words like knives inside his chest. He got down on his knees. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "Those words, they were cruel. You came with a heart full of love, and I threw it away." Tears rolled down her cheeks. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then she said something Raj didn't expect. "I watched your journey on the news. I saw your change. And still, I waited to see if you'd come on your own. And now you have." Raj looked up. "I didn't come to save myself. I came to say this. I was wrong. You didn't deserve that. No one does." She gently nodded. "I forgive you, Raj." That one sentence felt like rain after a long, burning summer. Raj stood, bowed slightly, and handed her the warm food. This time, she smiled. She touched the bag and said, "My husband would have liked you, this version of you." They shared a quiet meal, sitting like old friends who had finally understood each other. Back at the Royal Spoon, Raj hung a new photo on the wall. Not of celebrities, not of food. It was a simple framed quote. "Kindness is never out of fashion. Mrs. Singhal." Next to it, he placed a small photo of her, smiling gently. Customers stopped and stared at it. They didn't ask questions. They felt the meaning. Months passed. The Royal Spoon grew, not just in business, but in heart. People came from far away, not just to eat, but to feel something different. Raj became a speaker at schools, talking about change, about mistakes, and about how even broken people can become better. He told every student the same thing. Don't wait to be perfect to do good. Start where you are. And quietly, behind the scenes, he continued to support the poor, feed the hungry, and treat every single guest with dignity. One afternoon, the evening had a golden glow. Soft lights covered the front of the royal spoon. Lanterns hung from the trees, and fresh flowers lined the doorway. A warm breeze touched every guest walking in. Inside, the restaurant was full, but it wasn't noisy. It was peaceful. Smiles were everywhere. People were not just eating, they were feeling something rare: respect. Raj stood silently at the corner, watching it all. 1 year ago, he had kicked out a couple because they looked poor. 1 year ago, his heart was closed, and his restaurant was just a business. But now it was something else. He walked slowly toward a table in the back. There sat Mrs. Singhal, the woman he had once insulted. And next to her, Mr. Arora, the old man he had once humiliated. Beside them were other guests: teachers, drivers, housemaids, even children from shelters. They all had one thing in common. They had all been treated badly once, but today they were treated like royalty. Raj folded his hands and greeted them. "Is the food okay?" he asked gently. Mrs. Singhal smiled. "The food is warm, but your kindness is warmer." He sat down beside her for a moment. "You changed me," he said softly, "not by shouting, but by forgiving. That is more powerful than anything I ever learned in business school." Mr. Arora placed a hand on Raj's shoulder. "You made a mistake, yes, but then you made a choice. That's what matters." Raj stood up again and walked to the small stage near the front. He picked up the mic. The room grew quiet. He looked around, his eyes soft but shining. "I once thought good clothes and money were signs of respect. I thought rules made a place great. But I was wrong." He paused. "I now know something bigger. Kindness is what makes a place truly beautiful." The guests clapped. Some stood. Some cried.